Welcome to CrossFit Alaya Unleashed podcast, where we discuss health and fitness, mindset and business with your host, Coach Lloyd. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Alaya Unleashed, where we post updates and teasers on our upcoming guests and podcasts. Alright, here we go, episode 21 of the Alaya Unleashed podcast, and today I have with me on International Women's Day, I have a woman, and what better woman to come and join me for today. Her name is Gada. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm amazing. Thanks for joining me on this special day.
Thank you for having me here.
We're going to jump straight in and let everybody know your story, how interesting you are. Yeah, I'm just going to go from there. I'm going to start with a bit of introduction, so something different. Usually I'd let the guest introduce themselves, but I'm going to give people a little bit of a introduction to you.
Go for it.
If people was to search Gada's Instagram, it's Gada Get Fit.
One word, Gada Get Fit.
Gada Get Fit. So you are pretty big on Instagram, which is great, and we'll come across that in the podcast. But if people do go on your Instagram, the first thing they see is all these accolades that you've got underneath your name. You've got, first of all, start off with athlete. It's an athlete profile. You are an athlete. It says that you're a runner, OCR, high rocks, and a personal trainer. Under that, you've got 2 times Guinness World Record holder. Under that, you've got an underarm athlete. The list goes on. We've got techno gym ambassador. We've got a mother, a wife, and a champion on the last one.
That's right.
So we're basically going to cover all of those throughout the podcast. I'll touch on each one of them. And so that's basically my guest for today on International Women's Day, which is great. We're going to start off by you basically going over how your childhood was for you, how it was growing up, whether it was easy, whether it was a hard ride. We'll just start from there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I am a Middle Eastern woman. I grew up in a very traditional household where boys were giving a lot more opportunities than girls, especially when it comes to sports and playing outdoors and doing all these kind of adventurous things. My parents were very open-minded, but at the same time, I grew up in Iraq, so the culture did not allow me to do the things I wanted to do. Even though I pretended that I was a boy growing up until the age of probably like 7 or 8. I loved playing outside. I loved playing with boys. But I reached a certain age where it was not allowed anymore. It was not acceptable to go outside and play. And I had to accept that for a while, but I always had that sport and that adventure inside of me. I lived through wars. I mean, the Iraqi-Irani war and then the Gulf invasion as well. So it was pretty tough growing up in that kind of lifestyle. And then we migrated to Canada. My mom got pretty sick. She had cancer. So at the age of 16, my brother and I had to work and provide for the family. So sport was not a priority, you know. I had to take care of my family. I had to study. I had to do other stuff. Even though, like, every once in a while, I would drive next to a soccer field or football field, and I would see all these girls my age playing. And I envy them. I wish I was one of these girls, but it was not for me. That's what I had to accept at the time. But again, it was always, I loved sports. And, you know, when it was gym class, I would go all out playing sports and doing things, but I couldn't try out for any teams because I had to work out after school. So yeah, this is my childhood up until teenage years, high school.
I mean, how long ago was that? Because I know we've not touched
A
on how old you are.
long time ago.
Gada,
You cannot.
if you're not watching the podcast, then Gada does look amazing for her age.
Thank
but
you.
Just tell people how old you are.
I am 45 years old.
So she's 45. She doesn't look a day over 30, which
Thank you.
is great.
Sports keep me young, so
It does.
It does.
And I think
It
we'll
really
cover
does.
that again on the podcast on how important it has been for you. Even if it was, you know, at a younger age, pretending to be a boy just to try and get out there and do all these different activities, which obviously you found a way. It was very important for you at a younger age. You knew that you wanted to do this stuff at a younger age, but you actually had to find a way to be able to do what you wanted, which was pretty cheeky when you was younger, pretending to be a boy. Did you have an alias? Did you have another name? for being a boy?
So when we moved from one neighborhood to the other, I wanted to play with the boys. And I was about, I think I would say 7, 8 years old. And my hair was pretty short. So I started stealing clothes from my brother and I would wear it. And my name was Ali. So I would go outside and play with the kids and play outside, and everybody known me as the boy Ali, you know. And so, funny story. One time we were playing, we were racing, and I had to start the race, and this kid cheated, and he started the race early, so he won, and I had to beat him up after. So his
Literally
mom
beat him up,
yeah,
Okay.
because he cheated. It's not allowed. So he went home crying, and his mom came complaining to my mom. She's like, "Your son beat my son up, and that's not acceptable." And she's like, "What son? I don't have, a little son." And she's like, "That." And she said, "That's my daughter. That's Gada, you know." And so yeah, I had to do what I had to do. I wanted to play outside. I wanted to be a boy at the time because, like I said, boys were given more opportunities than girls.
Was this like the first time your mum had heard of it, or was it something that she was aware of and she just let you do, or was it something that you try and hide from her?
I mean, she kind of, she knew I wanted to play with boys, and at that age, it wasn't a big deal. So, but she didn't know I was pretending to be a boy.
Even though you're just in
Yeah,
boys'
yeah,
clubs?
and she just let it be because I was a child. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
I feel like that's important for like your kids to find you like their own way so early on in life and try and find the activity that you wanted to play. So when was it that you moved over to Canada?
I was about 11, 12 years old. That's when we moved to Canada, yeah.
So you started school in Canada?
I started middle school in Canada. And then again, we were just immigrants. So I was trying to learn how to speak English, trying to adjust to the culture. Yeah. My mom was very scared for me because it's a whole new culture. It's a whole new environment. And so again, she was very protective. I wasn't at that time. Also, I was not allowed to do a lot of things. And then when I moved into high school, she got sick and, just one thing after the other. So growing up was pretty tough for me, to be honest with you. Going through wars and immigrating, leaving your home country and then moving to a new culture. And kids can be quite mean, especially when you come from you look different, your color is different. And back then, not too many immigrants were in Canada. So yeah, I was bullied. Yeah. I was bullied quite a lot.
Yeah, it was something new for people back then, weren't it? Now you wouldn't really find that so much.
Not at all.
That's a good thing that we, now that's a very good thing that people don't get so bullied so much because of the race or where they're from, or if they're immigrants or not. So
yeah,
I feel like the world's changing for a better place regards to that.
Yeah.
So how long was it until you settled in Canada? Did you enjoy Canada? Did you enjoy being there once you settled and you learned a bit of English? How was it for you?
I mean, it's not whether I enjoyed it or not. It is what it is. I had to accept the fact that I was in Canada. I always had in the back of my head that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, even though my mom was sick and I was working and I was optimistic. I was always positive. I was always looking at the bright things of life. But when I was 18 years old, my mom passed away. And at that time, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And so I moved to the U.S., to California, San Diego, with my uncle. And then I went through school. I met my husband there. I got married. I got married quite young at the age of 20, had my first child at the age of 21. So from there, I was a mom. And then 3 years later, 3 years later, I had my daughter. So I was a full-on mom, full-time mom. I did work part-time for the city of San Diego, like in the HR department. So nothing sporty about my life.
No.
I would go to the gym when it's convenient, when it's fun, when there's nothing to do. I would go to the gym, like cycle or do something, but nothing intense. And that was life, just being a mom and a wife and, just like any other mom, you know.
Well, I guess you have to prioritize at some point in life, right? It's like children are more important than anything, right? So you was very young when you had your first child, 21. So I guess obviously, it's a big change in such a young age. You don't probably find time, or you don't really want to find time to go and train.
Find time.
You want to put all your energy into your family, into your kids, into you trying to, work, earn a living as well. So, I mean, Yeah, I mean, you've got 3 kids now, right?
I have 3 kids now.
So you still are
I have 3 kids, but they're all grown. You know, they say it's not the right thing to have kids at a younger age, but actually there's pros and cons to everything, you know. I had my kids at a younger age, went through that phase. They're older now. They're my friends. You know, I get to do stuff with them, travel with them, where now women my age are having younger kids and they're struggling. So you have to, you know, find a balance. And,
yeah, that's so true. I feel like there's one of 2 people. You either do it your way, so have kids young, sort of live the life that you did, and then find later on in life something like fitness, and, you know, you're allowed to live that life that you've missed at a younger age, whether it's, you know, going out, being more social, going on more vacations.
Exactly, yeah.
Or you do that all in the age that you're supposed to do,
right,
allegedly, and then live that life
settle and
all their own, you know. So there's no right or wrong way. I think everyone has their own different
absolutely
path in life, and I think, you know, everything happens for a reason. You've gone through that, and now, you know, you did find fitness, so we'll come to that. You know, at one point, obviously from a young age, you knew it was important to you because you were trying to, you know, be a boy.
It's not only important to me, I enjoyed it. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was important to me, but I just enjoyed the life, you know, that I would always watch the Olympics and then pretend like, you know, I'm a gymnast or something, you know, it's just. So
let's get on to, you know, when you started to find fitness like properly, and how that come about, and what you found this newfound love of fitness for.
So, actually, it happened by coincidence. When we moved, after I had my kids, we moved to Dubai the year 2017. And moving from the U.S. to Canada, in the U.S. we didn't really have a social life. So when I came here, it was like the Middle East. It was filled with social life, having new friends, doing all these kind of things, and I really got into that. I got into fashion. I got into, you know, like partying and going to VIP parties and doing all these things. And then something happened with one of my friends, and I was left out. You know, one of my best friends, and. I was lost again. I didn't know what to do. And I started boxing. I went to a boxing gym. And one day this lady came up to me and she said, "Do you want to be part of our team to do this obstacle course race?" And I said, "What's an obstacle course race? What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, you know, you run 10 kilometers and you do these little obstacles and then that's it." And I'm like, well, this should be fun. I had no idea what that was. So it was a 10-kilometer run. I've never run a 10-kilometer at that point. So I went, and they didn't show up at the time. And so I ran with my friend, and I finished the race. I didn't know what the time was. I missed more than half of the obstacles, and I was so happy. It was the Desert Warrior. I was so happy just to be doing my first race ever. A month later, I got an email from the organization saying that I finished first in my age category and I have qualified for the World Championship. At that point, I was like, what?
Yeah. There might have only been one lady racing.
Oh, my God. No, there were other ladies. But so I went to my husband and I told him, listen, I don't want any designer bag or any, you know, gold bracelets or anything. I want to train and I want to go compete at the World Championship, obstacle course World Championship. And he's like, okay. He thought it was a midlife crisis. 'Cause at that age, I was 39, approaching 40. So he's like, okay, let's do it. So I trained and I trained. But it was like, I think, maybe 3 months of training from zero, nothing. So we went. We got there to London, and I was all excited and all happy. And I don't know if you're familiar with the World Championship, the Obstacle Course World Championship, but they actually give you a bracelet, and you race. And if you can attempt an obstacle as many times as you want. But if you can't, then they cut the bracelet off, and you don't qualify for a podium. So it was their anniversary, and it was a 15-kilometer run with 100 obstacles. Most of the people don't really finish the race with the bracelet band. Because, I mean, some of these obstacles are like Ninja Warrior kind of obstacles, very hard to attempt. Anyway, so I probably like 40%. I did 40% of the obstacles, but I continued with the race. They cut the bracelet off. I continued with the race, and I finished it, and I was super happy. Finished and covered in mud. And my husband saw me, and he's like, "Come, I want to show you someone." And I'm like, "We're here. We don't know anyone." We approached the obstacle before the finish line. There was a woman. She was 75 years old, trying to attempt the last obstacle, and she still had her bracelet on.
Damn.
I still remember her back. She had like gray hair, amazing figure, and her elbows and knees were covered in blood. I saw her, and I was so inspired. And I looked at my husband, and I'm like, this is exactly how I want to age. This is exactly how I want to be. And that's how it started. I came back. I got rid of all of my designer stuff, and I started training. And here I am today. Yeah.
I do feel like when it comes to inspiration, I don't feel like normal people know how much they can inspire
Absolutely.
other normal people.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of young people now would look up to celebrities or sportsmen, people, whatever it might be. But I do feel like the most inspirational stories that I've heard come from just normal people.
Absolutely. I don't even remember this lady's face. I just remember her back and how she looked. It was just so inspiring. So inspiring.
Let's just rewind, because there was a lot then in that 5 to 10 minutes of, you finding boxing, then LCR at 39 to, some older lady inspiring you. But I feel like you've already been inspired before that. I think something's gone on. So you've obviously been in this social circle with, very little friends. And you're not really doing much fitness, but something's gone on between you and a friend, and that sort of sparked some sort of fire in you to go and do a race. Is that correct?
In a way, it is.
Because like you said, you was living this sort of fancy lifestyle, coffee shops and nice nails, nice hair, which, some people live that life, which is fine. But I feel like something's gone on for you to sort of gone, right, now I'm just going to put all my energy into doing these races and just forget this whole social thing and this lifestyle. Because you've done two different lifestyles right there.
Yeah. I remember one time we were sitting in a gathering, and there was like a bunch of women, and we're like all fancy and covered up in designer stuff. And we were talking about fitness and everything. And I looked at them, and I'm like, I really want to be a super, super fit woman. And everybody looked and started laughing. They're like, yeah, good luck with that, Actually, that was also one of my biggest motivation. That was always in the back of my head. It's like,
people
what do you mean?
You,
why was that a sarcastic laugh? Why you don't think I can do it? Of course I can do anything if I put my head and mind into it. So yeah, that as well. Yeah. It was always in the back of my head. It's like
people's
that laugh, that sarcastic laugh.
Let's just spark something.
Yeah.
That's good. So for people that are finding themselves in sort of a similar social circle, or don't have the confidence to go to a gym, or or maybe stuck in that rut that you were stuck in, what would you tell them? People that are actually thinking about it, or they're just on the fence.
Be patient. There's always a time for everything. Don't rush things. I mean, we go through phases in life. For me, I felt I was stuck when my mom was sick. I felt I was stuck when I had little kids and not knowing what to do. I felt I was stuck when I came here, and I was, caught in this lifestyle, social lifestyle. But what meant to happen will happen. And if there is a will, there is a way. You can always find your way. So hang in there and keep believing in yourself, and it will happen eventually.
Yeah, I saw something on Instagram the other day. I think it was something to do with consistency, whether it takes
Absolutely.
3 months or 3 years. Keep hustling, keep grinding. What's meant for you will come, and it will be. You know, and that's just reminded of me having to grind every day for to better yourself as a person, as a business, whatever it might be. Because people get frustrated with. They see themselves in a certain way, or they have some certain goals, whether it's business or personal goals, whatever it might be. And you do get to a point where, because it's not happening, you can get a little bit down about it and demotivated. And for some people, around you, it might take 3 months. For you, it's taken 3 years, and it's still not happened.
Right,
so
right.
I just feel like being consistently disciplined and motivated.
And honestly, keep staying positive. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, I post a lot on Instagram, and I have quite a lot of followers, especially from the Middle East, especially from Iraq. And every once in a while, I get tired. Like I don't want to post, and I have these women messaging me. It's like, how come you did not post? You inspire us. We see you, and we believe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You keep us moving. You keep us motivated. So. Just stay positive and believe in yourself, and it will come.
We'll go on to the social media aspect, because that was on my list just a little bit further down, but we can bring it up as soon as we're on the social media conversation. But how important is it to you now, and to leverage what you do, you as a person, as a brand, as an athlete? Like, how important can social media be?
When I first started social media, I didn't plan it to be it's as big as it is right now, for me at least. But because I'm different, because I started my fitness at a later age, because my background, I inspired a lot of people, and I started getting a lot of attention because of that. And here in the Middle East, we reach in my culture, I would say, we reach a certain age, especially for women, and it's like the forgotten age, once you reach the age of 40. But when I proved that wrong, people started, turning their heads like, oh, well, if she can do it, we can do it. I see a lot of women and, in all of the Emirates, or I see them in the races, and they come up to me and they're like, honestly, your post inspires so much because you are relatable. I keep things real. I keep things... I like to post pretty pictures every once in a while, but I like to keep it real, my sweats and my hard work, and showing it to people and being real about it. So... it's quite important. I like inspiring people. To say the least.
I mean, that's my next question. How does it make you feel when people come up to you saying, you changed my life, or you've maybe do this, or you've inspired me? That must literally set something off inside you.
Yeah, absolutely. They know me as Gada Get Fit. They don't know me as Gada.
So do I.
It's like, oh my God, are you Gada Get Fit? Yeah. And when I first started this, I was like targeting my age group, but actually I started targeting, like little girls and men and all athletes around me. And even when I go to Canada, a lot of people know me there, so it's nice. Of course it's nice. My hard work is actually paying off, and it's people appreciate that. So
yeah, that's cool. I feel like you're doing what you do. Like that older woman in the race in the beginning of your career inspired you, and now you're doing the same. Like, people, obviously you're not 75, you're not old, but you are still inspiring these younger people, male or female, whatever it might be. You still are, these people looking up to someone who's older than them. If she can do that, if she can break two Guinness Book of Records, then what's stopping me?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's great that everyone sort of looks up to you and reaches out as well. I feel like, even though you have got a lot of followers, like you said, you are real. And if people was to message you on Instagram, you be the one messaging them back. You be the one being open and honest with them. And, you find time to speak to these people, whether you like them. Well, you're obviously going to like them, whether you know them or not. And just having the time to respond to them, I think that's, I think that makes a massive difference to those people reaching out, which is great. That's social media.
That's social media, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with the social media aspect, right?
And to be honest with you, actually, it also motivates me. When I post something, I look at myself, I'm like, wow, I did this, I accomplished this. And when I get positive reaction from people, I'm like, I'm on the right path. So it doesn't only motivates people, but it also motivates me when I get positive reaction from people. So it works both ways, I guess.
Yeah. Keeps you accountable as well, right?
Yeah,
like you said earlier, like people might reach out to say, I've not seen your post for a while.
Exactly.
And you're thinking, oh, she's right.
Yeah.
I need to start posting more, or because that's why people follow you. That's why you have so many followers, right? People expect sort of new stories of you training and you working out. Like I love the ones that you have with your daughter. Like you said,
I miss her.
Your kids are your best friends, and like your oldest daughter is just like literally your friend, and you're always posting videos and pictures of you and your daughter, and it is like a really good friendship, And I feel people like you said, people relate to that, which is nice.
Yeah, again, it's being relatable,
exactly.
To people. Yeah. When you have kids, and when you are a mom, and when you are a wife, you have other obligations, but it's important to prioritize yourself. It's not selfish, it's important. And showing that to people and inspiring others, it motivates me.
Yeah.
So
since the age of obviously 39, how important is it for you to make fitness a priority?
To me, actually, fitness, it became like eating and sleeping and breathing.
Yeah.
If I do not work out, there's something missing. There's something wrong with my life. It's extremely important.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I go on vacation, I have to book a hotel where it's closer to a trail.
I saw that not long ago.
Or, they have a gym, or there's something fitness related, close by. So it's extremely important.
For people that don't understand, because obviously we're a different breed. Obviously we train every day, and if we don't train, we might feel a bit down. If we feel sad, we go and train, we feel better. Like, for people that don't understand, like, how important is it? Like, what is it that makes it important? Why is it so important?
It makes me happier.
What different, apart from being happier, like, what other changes in your life does it have?
It's just, you feel better about yourself. You feel that you have accomplished something. You feel that you're worth something, I remember the time I was actually, a couple of years ago, we went, I spent the summer in Canada, and I train every single day, and I felt like the kids want to do something, and I forced myself to take a day off. I'm like, okay, I'll take a day off, spend time with the family. And my eldest son, he came and he was talking to me about some random stuff, and I kept snapping at him. I kept yelling at him and snapping at him. And he looked at me, he's like, Mom, like, seriously, what's going on? Like, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and why? And then my husband yells from the back, he's like, your mom did not work out today.
Yeah.
Just let her be.
And that's when he was like, come and work out with me.
Yeah, so it just makes me a better person.
Yeah.
Working out and having that feeling, it makes me a better human.
Yeah. Again, I saw something on Instagram the other day, and it was like, if I train in the morning and make my workout the hardest thing I'm going to do for the day, then I've already accomplished a lot. Then everything else is going to be easier, whether it's dealing with people, whether it's work.
Yeah.
Everything else after your hardest workout is going to be easy. And I was like, yeah, that's so true.
You have to try to understand what I'm talking about. No matter how much time you explain it, no matter how many examples you give, but you have to live it. You have to have that feeling. I didn't understand it before, It was, going to the gym was like, a chore, But now it's like the highlight of my day.
Yeah.
Because I know how I'm going to feel afterwards.
That's a good point. So for people that are thinking about fitness and they don't want to make it a chore, like, what advice would you give them to be like what would you tell them to do?
Consistency.
Yeah.
Keep doing it until you're going to love it. Honestly.
Yeah. How long do you reckon that takes?
When we all started, we didn't like it. It was hard work. Nobody wants to do hard work, especially when you don't see results right away.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to continue. You want to, when you pay something, you get something in return right away. But with workouts, you have to be patient. You have to be consistent in order to get that return. So consistency.
Do you still enjoy working out?
I love it. I have my clothes.
You're not working out hard enough if that's the case. I feel like what we do, like CrossFit or whatever.
I don't like the workout during the workout. I hate running when I'm running, but when I'm done, I'm like, look at my pace.
I said this as well about running. It's like when you're doing running, it's something that you hate, but afterwards, it's like the best you'll ever feel.
I love it, especially when I go back and look at my data and look at all of that. I'm like, oh my God, that was a good pace, So yeah.
Trying to find that runner's high that people always talk about that I've never had in my life.
Yeah.
I don't run enough, but it is what it is.
Running is life.
For you.
For me.
Because you need to be good at running, right? So we'll quickly go back to all these other cases that you've got, right? So you are a runner. You run a lot.
I do run a lot.
The reason why you're running a lot at the minute is why?
Well, actually, I'm training for quite a few things. High rocks is one of them. And I use also, like, my long endurance run, I use them as therapy. I love to go out on my own, listen to my own music, listen to my own thoughts. And I don't know, I think it heals when you go through a tough, situations and stuff. Running actually helps me get through stuff.
You and your own thoughts while you're running.
Yeah. No distraction, just me and my running shoes.
Yeah, you don't listen to music while you're running?
I do. Depends. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes
okay.
I don't. Sometimes I just want to focus on my thoughts. Yeah. And other times, no, I want to, listen to Drake and listen to other stuff and just go with the flow. When I have a fast pace, like I do listen to music.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, what's this High Rocks race that you're training for?
So high rocks, it's a newish sport, I would say. Before I used to do a lot of obstacle course races, and now I'm moving on to something because you have to keep things alive. You have to keep it interesting. You know, things get boring no matter how many times, you know, how much love you have for it. So I moved into this high rocks. It's basically a 8-kilometer run, but there is a 1 kilometer between every station, and there are 8 stations. So, and it's heavy work, heavy lifting. So there's a new logo or saying about high rocks. I think it says run fast, lift heavy, basically. So you have to run fast. That kilometer has to be fast run, and then you go back and lift or push or do heavy functional exercises. And so this is what I'm training for.
Damn. And you did one previously, just recently?
I did. I've done 3.
3 high rocks races.
Yeah, I've done one in London. That was a trial. I just wanted to see what's going on. I did one here in Dubai, and I did another one here in Dubai, and I did the relay team as well. And the next one is going to be Doha, and then the World Championship in Nice. Yeah.
So are you pretty good at this high rocks thing, or what?
I mean, I could be better.
Good.
I'm
And so can everyone
better.
else?
Yeah, I could be better.
Good mentality
Yep.
to have.
It's more mental than anything else. It's a long race.
How long on average would it be for people to complete? I know.
I mean, a
obviously
good
you're really
time
at it,
for a pro woman would be sub 115.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not there yet. I want to be sub 110. So that's what I'm training for.
How long did it take you to do the last one?
I'm not happy with that time.
Tell the listeners. We're being real here.
Well, my best time so far was 119.
Okay.
Last time, my body just didn't want to go, and it was 123.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, we all have our days, right? And that's
Yeah.
important. Like, there's
I
days
just-
where we feel great and we can
Exactly.
perform well, and there's other days where we don't perform so great, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
And I've trained really hard for it, and I was so prepared. But then I showed up to the race, and I got to the broad jump burpees, and I couldn't go. So the organization was really good. Everything was perfect. There is no excuse, but it's just my body decided, nope,
Yeah.
not today.
I do like the High Rocks race. So for those that don't know, High Rocks it's the same workout whenever you do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. It's the same. So you start off with the run. So you start off with a
You start
1K
off with the
run,
rain, yeah.
and then it's an obstacle, then another 1K run, then an obstacle, and it's the
Yeah.
same sort of workout no matter where you go, and you just basically try and get the best
Better time.
And on average, you are looking around, well, for the guys, maybe an hour, just over an hour, and for the girls, an hour and 20 minutes. If you don't know what it is, then CrossFit Alliance do have hybrid classes,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
training for High Rocks. We have them every Sunday morning, which is
And they're great classes.
which is great.
I've tried
It's
them.
like an hour,
Really
an hour and a
good.
half
Yeah,
class. Heavy sleds, bit of running, heavy farmers carriers.
A lot of running, not a bit of running. A lot of running.
You don't want to scare them away. So the running, it's subjective. If you're obviously new to hybrid and you want to come down and try the class for free, you can do. If it's too much running, we can obviously scale the run and just come and have a good time. Maybe you'll see Gada get fit there. You can speak to her, say hello, ask some questions. But I do like High Rocks. There's a big buzz around High Rocks at the minute. I understand why. I feel like it's a race that you have to train for. You can't just
show up.
wing it. I mean,
Yeah.
some fit people could just show up and get a good time, but if you want to be really good at it and you want to,
To be
promise
honest
yourself-
with you, I mean, what I like about High Rocks is that it's suitable for everybody because it's functional exercise. It's not like CrossFit or obstacle course where you need the technicalities. No,
Exactly.
this one is like everybody's
Yeah,
welcome.
it's not technical.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I like that.
It's just functional exercises, and it's like how fast you go and how fast you run.
Yeah, I love
So yeah.
that. So that's you and your High Rocks journey. I didn't even know you was a personal trainer.
I am actually. I have quite a few
Are you still training
certificates.
people now as well? or-
I do train people online that don't speak English.
Okay.
It's from Iraq, so
Yeah.
I do train people, and also I'm a prenatal, postnatal
Mm-hmm.
coach, and High Rocks coach level 1. So I got quite a few certificates.
I didn't know
but
High Rocks had their own
they do.
certification.
Yeah, they do.
How many levels do you know?
I think it's 3 levels, and then you become a master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you got to pay for that, have you?
What do you mean?
Do you have to pay to?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
It's like a big money making thing. It's like
Yeah.
CrossFit. It's all money, money, money.
Yeah.
They'll be
It's like
making-
everything else.
That's true, especially in Dubai. We're making billions soon. Let's dig more into your Guinness World Record. You got 2 of them.
I have 2 of them.
Um,
Yes.
Just explain those. Your first one was what? Because I don't even know. I think you might have told me.
Actually, so it was an obstacle course race on Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
So we get to climb the mountain and then do an obstacle course race on the crater.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 40 of us. Only about 20 people were able to go up and complete because there's no oxygen.
So you had to get up to do the
You have to get up
to do the course.
And look good and look healthy, and you get checked by a doctor for you to complete the obstacle course. So yeah, I did that, and then it was actually one of the hardest things that I had
I can
to
imagine.
do, because you're racing with no oxygen basically. And it's extremely cold. And when you get to a certain elevation, you get very emotional as well. So I was like running and crying for no reason. So,
wow.
And I just could not breathe. And you have to carry everything with you. It was hard. I thought I was going to die.
Who comes up with these ideas? That's crazy.
Extreme sports.
So, well, yeah. Very extreme.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
some people could die doing that, literally.
And with that climb, actually, it doesn't matter if you're fit or not.
No. I mean, if you're not used to
the
it.
mountain shows no discrimination. So it's like.
Did you train for that anyhow or not? Or did you just go?
No, I just went.
It's hard to train for it.
Yeah.
They might have
You can't
chambers
really.
over
I
here,
mean, I do obstacle courses and I do run, but it's like the elevation, and
Yeah, exactly.
it takes days to get up there. I think it was like 7 days for us, or 5 days. And so yeah, I did that one. It was like one of my biggest accomplishments.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely.
You're crazy.
There was another, but they canceled it. I was going to do it. There was the first obstacle course in Antarctica.
Wow.
And I was going to do it, but it got canceled.
So did he do these, is it a year thing or is it just a one-off? Like the one that you did at Kilimanjaro? It's a one-off. So
yeah.
just done now. They won't do it again.
Yeah. They have other, activities and other races, but that is that. Yeah. They don't repeat it.
Good. You don't do that again. So that's one of them. What's the second one?
The other one is actually, after we finish the obstacle course race, they're like, okay, we can break another world Guinness and then do the highest fitness class on the crater.
Okay.
So that's what we did, a 30-minute fitness class.
That was after your LCR
And that's,
race. So you sort of broke two records in one day?
In one go, yeah.
Damn. I mean, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
If there was a third, I would have done it.
Yeah, right. So after all this, was this when you started to get a little bit like, I wouldn't say famous, but people started to recognise who you was, or was it this beforehand? Because obviously you're an ambassador for a few different brands. Under Armour for one, you're Under Armour athlete, technology ambassador, just to name a few. When did all this come about?
Actually, the Under Armour became before the Guinness World Record. I wanted to give, in the Western, culture and media, they see the Middle East and they see the Middle Eastern women as something different. Yes. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to show the world that, no, not everybody looks like that. And there are people and women who are capable to accomplish anything they want from the Middle East. And so I started working on that. So when I race anywhere in the world, I have to put my Iraqi flag and I have to make sure that they know I'm from the Middle East. And that's how, and I would say I was kind of good at what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And that's how I grabbed a lot of attention. And, Under Armour reached out to me and they're like, would you like to be part of our team? And of course, I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
And same thing with, Techno Gym and all these brands. Again, going back to being authentic and being who you are and not being fake and doing what others are doing. Just be you. Mm-hmm. Be who you are. Yeah. What you believe in. And, Yeah,
I do. I feel like that's important when, you're representing a brand is the person that is the ambassador is authentic and real, because a lot of brands just do it because somebody would have a lot of followers.
Exactly.
Yes, you do, but at the same time, you are real on your Instagram. It is you running your Instagram. It's not anyone else. You post a lot on there. So I feel like, you are a legit ambassador for companies to.
And the thing is that I get approached by a lot of other companies and brands, and if I don't use them, if I don't believe in them, if they don't complement what the sports that I do, then why bother? I have to be real. I have to represent what I believe in. Advertise it to the people that this is really works. If I'm wearing this, if I'm using this kind of watch, or if I'm doing anything, it works for me.
Yeah.
And it might work for, you as well.
Yeah. Being an ambassador, what do they expect from you? Because people are probably listening thinking, what the hell is a Under Armour ambassador or an Under Armour athlete? Like, what's expected of you?
Actually, honestly, just being who I am.
Yeah. So doing what you're doing on Instagram.
When I joined the team, I'm like, what do you guys want me to do? And they're like, just be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing what you're doing. And that's why we love you.
Mm.
And being real.
Yeah. So, when you've got a pulse, when you're doing a run, you're wearing your Under Armour trainers, you have to tag them, and that's about it? Or do you not even have to do that?
I don't even have to do that. I do it because I want to tell people that this is what I use.
Yeah.
I do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it because I like it. And if people are asking, I get asked a lot by, what shoes do you wear? Even down to my sports bra. Like, what sports bra do you wear when you run? And so I want to tell people that these things actually do work. And they help me perform better. So, yeah, I mean, they don't expect a lot, like just doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. And what are you getting from them?
Their love and support.
Love that. Yeah.
Honestly.
And did they have events, no? They have certain events.
They do have events, yeah.
You have to turn
and
up
I
to.
help, and I love helping them out with the events. But they've been supporting me throughout everything. Like, every time I ask for something, there's no. Like, everything, they will help me with absolutely everything.
Mm. So if you called them up now and said, "Can I get Lloyd a pair of Under Armour trainers?" they'd give you one.
Who's Lloyd?
You just said anything.
No, they're really great.
Yeah.
I love them. I love the team. They're so friendly. They're so helpful. They're just absolutely.
How long have you been working for them? Oh, with them, for now?
When I first started my journey, like very short after, I think,
a few years then.
they reached out to me, like maybe like 3-4 years.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be Under Armour's oldest athlete / ambassador with 10, 15 years to come.
That's a compliment. I'm going to take that as a
Oh,
compliment.
yeah, for sure. Like,
sure.
Obviously, Under Armour have a few ambassadors and a few athletes. I'm guessing that you'll be up there with probably being one of the oldest ones.
Maybe, yeah.
But one of the most real ones, and authentic ones, But again, I feel like it's great when certain brands have someone like you who's a little bit older that people look up to and are doing amazing with the races. Like, why not? Why do we always have to have someone on Instagram that has all these followers and is slightly famous?
Again, it's going back to being relatable.
Yeah.
People, like, when people see this amazing woman, like, who's lifting 1,000 kgs and...
Oh, hang on a minute.
Oh, no, let me finish. And then looking, having this amazing figure, and people are going to look at it and like, yeah, okay, whatever. I will never be like that, But when you see someone who's normal, like a woman, okay, and, a mom and a wife and doing everything else and still working out and training, I'm like, okay, well, if she's doing that and if she's a mom, then I'm going to be able to do it as well. So being relatable is important, very important.
There we are. Advice if you want to become an ambassador or an athlete, be relatable. Just be you.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple. It's
Push
not hard, is it?
Train hard, work hard, be authentic, and you'll get there.
I love it. What's been your favourite race of all? All the races that you've done, all the OCR, marathons, whatever it might be.
Favorite race.
What's the favourite one?
Like competitively,
what means
or
the
just
most
like,
to you?
Means the most to me. I think it was the Spartan World Championship in Greece, the sprint. A few years back, I showed up and I was probably number 25. I finished the race as number 25,
okay.
25th, you'd say. And I would look at my age group, and I would look at all these women like, oh my God, how can they do this? How can they do that? And then, not the last championship, the one before, I showed up. I've trained, and I showed up. And I won the sprint for my age group.
Boom.
And that was just one of the biggest accomplishments. I was the first Middle Eastern Iraqi woman to podium in a world championship for Spartan. So that was, and lifting my Iraqi flag and standing on that podium in front of all these countries and putting my name out there, it was extremely special.
Love that.
Yeah. So that was probably one of my favorite races.
Yeah. When we did sit down and have a little chat, you told me a little story about the marathon, where you was going to quit the marathon, but then...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's tell that story because I love that story.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell
So,
people that one.
I always tell people, a lot of women ask me, like, why do you do, people that don't get sports, like, why do you do the things you do? First of all, I do it for me and I do it for the community. But I actually, like, one of the most important thing is that I do it for my kids because I want to inspire them. I want to be the role model, like you have to practice what you preach. So, but again, when I first started this fitness journey, my son, my eldest son, he was, a senior in high school. And me going from being a fashionista, like pretty and hair done, to completely the opposite, where like I show up to school with like sweaty hair and, like workout clothes and everything. So he started telling me, Mom, why can't you be normal? What's happened to you? Like, just be like the other moms. And I'm like, you know what? Just don't worry about it. So the time went by and he graduated and he went to college. And then the Dubai Marathon came up. I've never done a full marathon in my life. I don't even know how to train for it at that time. And so I'm like, I've done 10 kilometers, marathon, same thing, I guess. Running is running.
Yeah, exactly.
So I showed up to the marathon and I started running. The first 10 kilometers were absolutely beautiful. It was like fast and nice and everybody and, cheering everybody. And then 20 kilometers, I was like getting tired, started to get grumpy. And then the 30th kilometer is when my body started shutting down completely. I had nothing left. My joints were hurting. My body was hurting. Emotionally, I was like crying. And I was just like ready just to quit and walk it off. And so my bib had a live chip in it. And then I know my daughter was tracking me home here in Dubai. And then also at 2 a.m., my son was tracking my pace in Canada because that's where he was going to school. And he saw my pace was slowing down, going from whatever to like slowing down and down and down until I stopped completely. I just stood there and stopped and I was crying and ready to go home. And so he knew that my phone was with me and it was connected to my watch. So he started sending me motivational messages. He's like, Mom, you did not come this far to come this far. You have to finish. You have less than 10 kilometers to go. You're going to finish this, and I'm not going to go to sleep until you finish it. My last 10 kilometers were my fastest. I finished that full marathon sub 4. I think it was like 3:50 or something.
Nice.
And I was the happiest person on earth. So I, like, in an indirect way, I did inspire my son, even though he was not approving of my lifestyle and the dramatic changes that I did. But it keeps me going. These little things just keep me going.
For sure.
And I tell this story in all of my interviews, and it's something very special.
Yeah, I love that. They never quit your marathon. Although I've never done one and never will. How many have you done?
Marathon? Just one.
Just one. Just that one.
Actually, I've done an
that
ultra.
Was enough.
No, I've done an ultra.
Okay.
I've done one marathon. I've done an ultra in Canada. It was a trail run, 54 kilometers in 6 hours. Yeah, but it was a trail one. So
a lot more rest.
And I won that one.
Of course you did. You're just used to winning. Gotta win.
Gotta get win.
So, I mean, what's the main goal now for you? Like, you just told me now before we started the podcast that, your coach is killing you now. You just got this new training program. Like, what you're training for? What's the goal? What you're working towards? Let everyone know.
The number one goal is to keep going. I don't have a retirement plan. A lot of people say, well, I mean, at what age will you stop? I will not stop.
No.
That's number one. And I will always have a goal. Like, when I accomplish one goal, I will move on to something else. So my goal right now is to podium in High Rocks, Nice. And that's what I'm working for. Next year might be something different. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, just move the goal.
But just keep going, be consistent, and keep doing what you love.
Yeah. When's the Nice race?
June. First week of June.
Okay, so you got a good 3 months of training.
Yeah.
You just started your new training block.
I just started my new training.
New coach? Or?
With a new coach.
Okay, good. I saw you yesterday pulling the sled in the gym.
That was hard.
I was like, she needs to figure this out because every time you was pulling
And I did.
the rope was behind you. You was nearly tripping, breaking an ankle or whatever. But you figured it out.
I did.
After the first pull, which was great. I mean, you've answered a couple of my questions there with regards to like goals in place, like you're this person that needs to work towards something, which obviously you are, which is great. You are driven towards the next thing. What am I working towards? And then you'll finish
It's
this
very
race.
important to always have a goal. If you don't have a goal, you get demotivated. Absolutely. You have to, no matter how big or small the
But
goal
you've
is.
also got, but you have a goal, right? Your goal, you just told me that you'll never stop. Your goal
I
is
will
to
never
just keep
stop.
going. So that's your goal.
Yeah.
It's not a specific
That's
one.
my big goal.
It's not.
But you have to have small goals.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still have that one main goal of just keep going and not have any little goals, right? But again, that wouldn't be so specific, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's important.
They're a big goal, and then you have little motivations that keep you going.
Yeah. And you've got to celebrate those little things, right?
Absolutely.
To get to the big ones. I do feel like it's for people that like yourself when in races and the setting world records, the winning races. You're trying to find that next big thing. You've just done this race. Like, what's next? What's next? And you go to the one extreme to the next, and before you know it, you're trying to find, a one-off race on Kilimanjaro that no one's ever done. It's kind of like, where do you stop? How extreme do you go? It's crazy, because you're sort of addicted to that high. You're sort of addicted to what you're doing, which is great. There's obviously worse addictions out there, but you are literally addicted to fitness, to feeling great about yourself and trying to figure out what your body is capable of, and that's just mental. Like, I think people are more capable of things that they've not even put their mind to, which is crazy
100%.
if you think about it. Like,
the body's capable of so much more than you think.
Yeah.
Our
do you think it's mind over matter?
Oh, absolutely. Your mind gives up long before our body does.
Mm-hmm.
So if you shut that,
But that's a skill.
It's a skill.
You've got to be able to just.
And that's why
off.
they say runners are the strongest mentality are the runners.
There's a race across the desert. What's that called?
Which one? The Al Ola in Saudi?
No. This has been going for years.
Oh, yeah.
Marathon des Stables or something like this.
Oh, that's the one from Morocco.
Zahara?
From Morocco.
Zahara
Yeah. I was actually planning on doing that, but then High Rocks came along,
So
and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there's a documentary on that, which I've seen.
Yeah.
And this is like a crazy ultra marathon through the desert.
It is. I think it's like.
It's crazy, and it's over days, right?
I think it's 7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
7 days. Wow. And it's across the desert, and there's a camel that basically goes around the course, and it's at the back. And if this camel catches you, you're done.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just walking around, but over 7 days, if that camel gets
so I
to
think
you,
every day you have a certain checkpoint, and
I reckon you should do that. There's a goal for
I
you.
was actually thinking of it. Yeah, maybe.
Crazy. Yeah, I think there's a documentary on Netflix if you guys want to watch that. I really enjoyed that. That's crazy. That's something that I'd love to do, but I just know that, unlike you, I just don't have that. I don't know. I'm just not as mental as you. I don't know. Like, I find CrossFit's fine for me, and I just don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe during my midlife crisis.
Maybe we'll do it together.
Oh, don't put that on me. But that'd be pretty cool. And not many people finish it. Again, like your race at the top of the mountain, and like you get so many people doing it, and more than half would drop out. I think that's a good goal for you, especially.
Yeah.
Not for me. For you yourself. I'm not having that. I mean, that's all your goals. Apart from the next race that you've got coming up, anything in particular? Anything you've got your mind set on?
No, I just want to inspire women, especially women, older women.
You have to say that on International Women's Day, don't you?
No, honestly, I reached a point where I show up to places and I don't care how people look at me. Like, I want my achievement to represent me rather than the things covering me. You know what I mean? And I want women to be happy and at peace with themselves, whether, it doesn't matter of their shape, background, religion. Be proud of who you are.
Yeah, own it.
And just do your thing. Just be happy.
I do feel like you get to a point in life where you actually don't care what people think.
No, I don't.
You don't now, but there's been a time where we all have. We all, people might get to it a little bit sooner than others. Some people, it took me maybe up to 30 years old to realise it. But I think once you realise that, life just changes. It's so strange. Like, if you're comfortable with who you are and you're happy with, you knowing that you're a good person, and, nobody really judges you. I mean, people judge. But then
people
again,
judge.
Let
people
them judge.
Still judge. Absolutely.
Be happy with yourself. Just do you.
I did a little talk for an Indian high school from Chennai. I knew the coach there, and he's like, during COVID, actually, it was over Zoom. And this one kid from high school, he's like, what would you change about yourself if you would go back to high school? And I really thought hard, and I'm like, how people thought about me, what people would think about me if I do a certain things. I would have accomplished so much more at that age than I did.
Yeah.
Because I was always worried of what people would think of me.
Mm-hmm.
But with time, that changed, and I'm like, I'm so much more happier.
Yeah. I feel like people need to get to that point as quick as they can.
Yeah.
I feel like, as well, on this note, these are just my thoughts coming up, and they're not on my notes, but I feel like life just humbles you at one point. Like, you get to a point in your life where it's like, okay, we're not here forever.
Absolutely.
And it's about time that I look after my fitness, take myself more seriously, and I just feel like life just humbles you at one point, which is, with regards to looking after yourself, with how you're treating other people,
If you're not hurting anybody, and if you're not doing anything wrong, then do what you want to do.
Exactly. I love that. I think we'll finish on that note. That's great. Anything else to say to our listeners?
That's it.
Anything to finish on?
Just be happy.
Just be happy. There we are. Gotta get fit. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And enjoy your International Women's Day.
Thank you so much.
Rock it. A big thank you to our main podcast sponsor, Practical, for supplying guests with some tasty snacks, and you guys for watching on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and let us know what you think by dropping a message in the comment section below.